Yellow.
Genius.
Jeremy, what are we doing today?
We're gonna take apart our motor.
We're going to take apart a motor. Tegan, what are we doing today?
We're gonna drink some beer.
Trevor, what are we doing today?
Man.
We're going to do men. Go team. S14. So we're going to prep this bad boy RX7 up to go on the dyno. Don't know how much jam we'll make, but nice little engine bay. A little dusty, a little dirty, but is what it is. Hopefully we get to run this today. If not, you won't see this clip. You'll probably see it when it's done, but one beautiful unit. I'll be nice. I'll show you guys the inside too. We got some water meth here. This is the sake bomb tank kit. Nice little red seats. I can't fit in here, but very, very nice looking little RX7 this is. Nice little SSRs. And nice little Borg Warner. So this thing should make some jam. Excited to see it run.
Dude, I'm gonna kill you.
Tegan,
You're an alcoholic.
That's all on camera. What do you have to say for yourself?
Jeremy, you're ugly, you're stupid. You're an alcoholic.
What do you have to say for this Mr. 7M? Fucking throws a rod out the block. Okay, I'm gonna go get a beer. All right, come to the beer fridge with me. Also, I don't know how to vlog, dude. So I gotta look at myself. Hello. Oh, I gotta flip this around again. Hello. Okay. Got a nice little blueberry beer. All right, we're gonna step the RX7. We're gonna get this thing ready to dyno. Tegan, what's all on the agenda to get this thing running?
I had some issues with the ignition coils, so replace the coils. I'm just going to confirm ignition outputs one more time, and then we're ready to start it up and dyno it again.
How much horsepower SAE do you think we will accumulate here?
We made 419 last time. I know the customer said he wanted to go more, so we may or may not add more boost. We'll see what happens. See what happens.
All right, we're gonna leave Tegan be for a bit and go bug Jeremy and see what Jeremy's up to. Jeremy, what are you up to?
Well, I'm gonna try lifting the middle iron without Tegan here, which is very doable, but it's a little bit annoying. You'll see what I mean. The eccentric shaft, it's offset between stuck between two stationary gears, and just because of that way that works out, and the way that the actual center of the shaft works out here, like this guy, the way this works out inside the rotor bearing with the offset in order to balance the assembly, it just makes it a real pain in the ass. So
I will sit here and cheer you on.
So here's something that's really annoying when you're doing one of these. If you look at these, I don't know if you can get the camera in here. I wonder if you have blown coolant seal. This is, we'll see. But if you see the side seals have pulled out of the rotor and they're actually coming up with the iron. So that's kind of annoying. In this case, I'm not too worried. I want to replace every seal in this motor. It's good practice to figure out how you're going to deal with that when it happens, but in this case, it's not going to matter. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that.
Want some help?
Sure, why not?
I'll grab the iron.
Okay. I was just saying how we're not planning on reusing those seals, so that's nice. This guy...
Okay, I'm going to put this over here.
Okay.
Away from the engine.
This guy is...
A little difficult.
Yeah. A lot of step wear on this guy.
Okay.
That's okay. I'm just going to toss him into the tray, but I won't be... Oh, there's only one left. Okay.
Wait.
So this... So we had a break right here in the seal, right here. It's all good, Tegan. I've seen enough. I don't want to reuse them.
Okay.
We have a break right here, though.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And that was not from just pulling it. I was able to see that already when I just started lifting it. And that makes sense. The only history we have on this motor was that they were having trouble doing a hot restart.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense. I was wondering if we would find something like that.
But we can still feel for resistance.
Yeah, I
with the
absolutely do want to check this out first. So, can we see any evidence here of where that brake would have been?
Would have been here or here.
This would have been your down, right?
Right here in this
Yeah. You see any evidence of
Not really.
not in
Because he would have had a very apparent coolant leak here, we'd think.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of coolant sitting down here, though. What's all this? There is enough coolant in the journal here that I can just push it along. So, well, maybe that is confirmed. It's a lot of coolant sitting. Also, this sealant here is not holding for anything. I'm just pushing it all out of the grooves.
But no resistance as far as the seals, so that's good.
Lots of garbage in the coolant passages. Yeah, coolant up in here too. Oh, wait, where are we? Shouldn't be.
No, because that would have been where.
And what is
The
this
bolts
here?
went through.
What is this here? I want those apex to stay.
Okay.
We got the one that we're losing there.
So first look at housing, it doesn't look terrible.
I steal that actually. And you're done?
Yeah, I just need 2 fingers cleaned here. Did this thing get a little hot?
Actually, doesn't look bad. I do wonder if this hasn't been reconditioned once. It is quite glazed, but there's also some. I don't know if that's like, we wouldn't typically call that chatter when it's like consistent through the whole thing. Grab. Look at that spark plug. What am I seeing? Oh, never mind. No, that's all right. It's a lot of carbon buildup again, but it's not as bad as it looks. There is a step, but with some grinding, this should be a good housing. Good for another 150, 200. It's not bad. Just checking before I pull all this apart. I wanted to see if there's any carbon stuck in the grooves here. Again, the diagnosis that we got was relating to hot starts. So actually, the guy we got the motor from, he said that every time he was running it and they had trouble getting it started again because they flooded it at the track, then they would just tow it behind another car and head out onto the track, and it would fire up, and then take the strap off and finish your run. So that works, but I'd like to be able to provide a better option.
Very heavy on the carbon here.
Yeah, more heavy on the front than the rear, and the rear was bad. That's our oil scraper seal. That one is really just, these two are for holding back the majority of your pressure, and then this is a bit of a last resort, but I don't feel comfortable calling that, because if you take this ring out, you will have full-on blow-by to the point where your air-to-fuel ratios won't even be remotely accurate. As far as the wear on the iron goes, so the right process to do for that is a surface grinding. So it's actually it's a big machine with a big fat table and a grinding wheel. And I don't know how they make these things within this tolerance, but you can run a grinding machine that'll do passes over it. That'll take the thing down to within 1 thou flatness. That's the ideal scenario. This one does have step wear, but it's not as bad as it looks. So like right through here, this is fine. There's a little bit more on this guy where closer to the inside. It has worn a little bit, but I think that's usable. The other thing to look out for here, and I actually need this light to get a better look at this. There's some gray over here, a pitting of sorts, and sometimes that can actually be corrosion happening underneath the nitriding on the irons. In this case, I don't think so. It's still very glossy. I think this should be a good iron. The middle one I have a couple concerns about. And I also want to talk about porting here, but let's look at the middle first. Pull this guy out. So this one here, wipe this down a little bit. I know, right? My engine table is not exactly a film studio, but we're gonna make it work. So see right here, I can actually catch my fingernail on that. Oh, there we go. How's that?
I see that, yeah.
Yeah, that one, I think we could still probably get a little bit out, but here as well, I can't quite catch on it, but there's a fair bit of step wear throughout this. And RX8s, it's the middle iron you usually have to worry about. It's almost always the first to go. So I haven't taken any measurements right now. I'm just going off of feel. But it's possible that this one's getting close to the limit. There's a scratch here too. A fairly deep one. Let's see what else. Otherwise, you know, here too, yeah, it's, you know, this one I'm not going to be able to call it just like this. I'm going to have to measure this whole thing out, find out where we're at for flatness for one, and step wear. I would say that's maybe a thou, but I hope we can save it. Middle irons are, they're getting expensive for RX8s because they're by far the most sought after. Fronts and rears doesn't seem to be a problem getting. So we'll see where that goes. Let's put this to the side for a second though. I want to talk about porting and what we're going to do and why. Well, sooner or later we're going to have to do a video on RX8 port work and why we do what it is that we do. But for now I'm just going to refer everybody to whatever clip that John here puts in, and we'll just send people over here. So one of the most common reasons why RX8s blow up is carbon buildup inside the exhaust ports, and this right here is exactly the culprit. So when it comes to an RX8, if we're doing a rebuild, even a stock rebuild, I have a lot less interest if we're not going to address this, because this is a major problem area. So you can see the carbon here, how it sits in the bottom half of this port. So if I push on this, you can get a bunch of fairly large chunks here, rigid chunks of carbon. And let's see what this looks like in a second. See, I'm still scraping down through it, right? So what tends to happen is you'll build up a wedge of carbon right in this pocket here. And if for whatever reason that builds up to the point, even up into here, where it's caught by a seal and it ends up going for a round, that can catch your apex seal, and that is the beginning of the end, essentially. There's a lot of motors that will lose a seal from a carbon deposit actually ending up inside the engine and going around. So intake-wise, we're looking relatively clean here. Not a big problem. In a perfect world, nothing from your exhaust port would ever end up going around, but it happens, and actually quite frequently. So even if we're just looking for a stock rebuild, we're going to recommend that we do something about this. I'm going to bring that light around this way. Just like to see the back side of the port here as well. How much carbon do we have sitting? Oh, yeah. So I don't know if I can catch this. Let me try. Even from the inside, right, you end up with, this is relatively soft, but sometimes you can get almost like a diamond of carbon right up in the corners. Usually more here, but that's what we want to try to avoid. When we're doing a stock rebuild on an RX8, this is exactly what we're concerned about. Carbon building up right in the pockets like this. Let's take a look at what this looks like. Like right here even, there's a shelf right here. All those pieces there. And sometimes this will fill up a lot more than it is here. But this, yeah, you can already see there's actually a lot of buildup here though. This whole corner here can fill up, and if that ends up dislodging and instead of escaping through the port, it actually ends up going around again. That can catch on your seals and blow stuff up very, very quickly. So what we want to do is do a CNC port here. Ideally a CNC, because there's actually coolant passages right in behind here. And if you end up getting carried away with that port work and you cut into a passage, the iron is garbage. So we're going to send these off and get a CNC cut made up in here, and then bring this down a little bit here, and then that'll get sent back to us, and then we're going to finish it and polish it by hand, and that should alleviate that problem. We've got the housings looked at, and I think they're both usable, but we're probably going to get some grinding done. And the irons, it's too soon to say. The middle is a little concerning, but we're hopefully going to be able to reuse those as well. So the other concerning thing here about this motor is the amount of carbon buildup. It's not the most that I've ever seen, but it is a lot, and it's way higher than it should be for the mileage on the motor. Now, there are platings on here that I would rather not remove, but I mean, you can. A lot of people will just take these onto a wire wheel to clean it off. And we can do that if you have to. I mean, there's plenty of argument to be made that that's fine, but I would like to avoid that here. And I also, you can let it sit in chemical. Some chemicals can harm some of the components here, so not just anything, but there are chemicals you can use to remove the carbon without damaging the bearing and the gears. But what I want to see here is just how much can I remove with a quick little scrub. And not much is the answer, unfortunately. This is really, really built on here. We're gonna have to. Yeah, we're gonna have to get some chemical on these. This carbon is absolutely baked. I mean, it's kind of what you would expect, but. Well, there's not going to be much of a clip here for you right now then, for that.
What?
Yeah, sorry.
You also see like how much lighter it is on this side than on that side, like the coating that they were talking about.
Oh, this is just from where I brushed now.
Yeah. It also always comes off easier than one.
All right, so we're gonna let Jeremy finish off that motor, or not that motor, the motor over there, to get shipped off with the four or five other motors we have over there. So now we got to go bug Tegan, who's heavily hard at work trying to get this RX7 working. All right, so we did a quick beer run. We are back at the shop. The RX7 needed a little exhaust patch work, so Tegan just welded up a little patch so we can run it on the dyno. Jeremy was going over through the tune, and he came out very eagerly saying, "Oh, I think I found the issue, and this could be something big that caused internal damage on the motor." So we're kind of just waiting to get the go-ahead for him to run over all of that, and then you'll get to see what probably was causing all the issues on this little thing, and then we're gonna do a nice little pull and hopefully get more horsepower than 419. So stay tuned.
That's why I got a exceeded max timing error on every possible.
That's why your motor blew up.
That's why rotary go boom.
Not why that blew up, but it's why all my popping and all my BS when I was flooring it there, where I decided not to push it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is exactly why.
That's why.
Oh, I'm actually like. Are we on?
I recorded it. I don't know. I thought it was
Yeah?
gonna be funny. Just raw, natural reactions.
No, it's.
Not like.
Did you get one?